Have you ever had a thought? Maybe you're about to do something new and exciting, and these little thoughts creep into your head and they're saying, who do you think you are? You're not good enough to do that. You really think you can do that big thing? We're going to talk about imposter syndrome today. It affects 70% of the people, 70% of the population, and I really think it's 100%. I think the other 30% just don't know or haven't named it yet, but I think it affects everybody from time to time. And it's interesting because it usually affects us when we're about to embark on something new and exciting. So in this video, we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, give real life examples of what imposter syndrome looks like, and talk about how we can overcome it, what we can do with it, and why it shows up, why those little thoughts creep into our mind sometimes. So disclaimer, I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a doctor. I am just Susan Larimer. I've been in direct sales for over 15 years, and this is my channel, Build a Business and a Life You Love. And my goal is just to share from my experience, things that I have gone through in my journey in life and in business, and maybe I can help someone else. So this is all about imposter syndrome, which I know I have dealt with. And if you have dealt with it too, or are currently dealing with it, maybe this video will help you. Okay, so if you have felt this, take a deep breath. You're not broken, you're growing. And what I mean by that is these negative thoughts do not come to you when you're sitting quietly, comfortably, not making big moves. You're not going to have negative thoughts then. These thoughts will come to you when you are thinking about making a big move, making a big change in your life or in your business, or trying something brand new. So when you have these thoughts, know that you're about to do something very exciting. But you have two paths. You can either listen to the thoughts that are telling you you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not qualified to do this. If you listen to those thoughts, then you will stay in the life you currently have, which may be a good one, but it's comfortable, it's safe, and you're not going to make those big moves. The other option is to not listen to those voices and to tell them to step aside, zip it, and push through with courage to do that big move, and then see what happens on the other side. So I'm reading a book by Ruth Soukup. It's called Do It Scared. And in the beginning of the book, it has an assessment, which I'll put in the description. In the assessment, one of the questions says, would you rather do something and put your whole heart into it and fail, or would you rather have something you've always wanted to do and never actually do it and live with the regret of not doing it? And for me, that was easy. I'm like, I would rather do it and fail. I would rather not, look ahead in my life in 20 years and say, I had this amazing opportunity 20 years ago, and it's something I've been thinking about for 20 years, and I've never had the courage to do it. That would be regret, and I don't ever want to live in regret. So think about those two options as we're talking about imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, basically, what is it? It is the feeling that you're a fraud. It's the feeling that you don't have your act together and you're doing something that you have no business doing. But it is a lie. Like I said, 70% of people experience it. And these are, famous actors and actresses, world-class athletes, politicians, moms, consultants, leaders in the direct sales industry. People in your everyday life face these fears of being found out that they are not what they are claiming to be. And it's a terrible way to live. So I'm going to give you two real life examples of how I have experienced imposter syndrome. And it was interesting because one of them I had never realized until I was preparing for this video. I like to go to the beach and just kind of talk out my thoughts and what I want to think about and say in the video, and I came upon a realization that kind of hit me out of the blue. So I'm going to share that one first, and then I have another one to share. So in case you don't know me, I'm a pastor's wife. My husband and I have been married for 26 years. And when I married my husband, he was not a pastor. He was studying to be a pastor, became a pastor, and all of a sudden I had this title of pastor's wife. And I despise being called a pastor's wife. And it came to me today, I realized why I hate being called a pastor's wife, and it was almost a way to avoid imposter syndrome. Growing up, I grew up in a Baptist church, an amazing, healthy church. We had great pastors' families, but the pastors' wives, to me, in my mind, had it all together. They homeschooled their kids. They knew their Bible inside and out. They dressed conservatively in the long church dresses. They played an instrument or they sang. They taught Sunday school. And when I was all of a sudden labeled a pastor's wife, I was like, none of those things are me. I am just Susan. I would so much more have you introduce me as this is my friend Susan than this is my pastor's wife Susan. Because to me, it put me on this pedestal where I did not belong. I didn't want to be that pastor's wife. And as I was walking on the beach this morning, I realized that that is a form of imposter syndrome. Because if I had embraced the title pastor's wife, I would have been thinking the whole time, I am not deserving of this. They're going to know I don't know all of the Bible inside and out. I love my own kids, but I don't like kids. I could never teach a Sunday school room of kids. And I was afraid of being found out. So that is one form of imposter syndrome. And it was me realizing I can be a pastor's wife, but I will do it Susan style. The only shoes I have to fill are my own shoes, and I can fill them however I feel that I am gifted to fill them. So keep that in mind. Another example, I was recently asked to speak at our company conference this summer on fundraising. And I was excited. I got a call from the CEO, who I love, and she asked me if I wanted to speak on fundraising because I did two pretty good fundraisers this year. They were successful and they were fulfilling, and I just loved doing them. And she saw them on social media and asked me if I would speak about them at conference. And I was like, absolutely, like honored. Thank you so much for thinking of me and for asking me to speak. Got off the phone with her, and immediately the thoughts start coming in. I am not the top seller in our company. Shouldn't so-and-so do this talk on fundraising? I've seen her fundraisers, and they are so much more successful and bigger than mine ever were. Like, I don't think I'm the right person for this speech, this training. But I had to quickly talk myself out of it. The CEO asked me. Maybe she saw something different in me that would be more relatable to the other consultants. Whatever that reason is, I'm confident that she chose the right person and that I do have something to offer. And a lot of times when we're doing these trainings, thinking about, okay, that person could do it so much better, but there are so many people who are not at that person's level that the things that they're sharing may be too far out of reach. They may be unattainable, and therefore the person will never take a step to doing more. So I love listening to Rob the Maritimer. He's on YouTube, and I've listened to him a lot because he's just a normal guy focusing on YouTubers who are in their 40s and 50s. I'm 48, so I'm like, okay, I'm right there. He's very encouraging. And one thing he always says is, you need to be out there because your tribe is looking for you. There is a group of people that will only resonate with the things that you are saying. They may try other content creators or trainers, but they won't relate to them. but there is a tribe of people waiting to be found by you, waiting for you to find them. So that is what I hold on to and take with me. Brené Brown said it perfectly. She said, we can have courage or we can have comfort, but we cannot have both. So here is why we have imposter syndrome, okay? We have imposter syndrome because we are comparing our beginning journey to someone else's highlight reel, someone else's finished product. And when you're at the beginning of something, you're still learning. You don't have all the answers. I don't know that we ever have all the answers, but when you think you have all the answers, that is your polished highlight reel. I don't think we ever have all the answers though, but you can't compare the beginning of your journey to the end of someone else's journey. We mistake fear for failure. Remember that choice I gave you before? Would you rather do something and fail or never try it at all and live in regret? I definitely choose the failure part. It's okay to fail. And we confuse confidence with courage. Confidence is the reward. Courage is the first step. So think about that when you are diving into something. I love listening to Sean Cannell, also on YouTube, and he has the 7C framework. And he says courage means taking practical steps despite the fear. So courage is his first C. There are 7 C's in his framework, but number 1 is courage. You have to have the courage to hit the record button, send the email, send the text message, quit your job, whatever it is, you have to have courage before any other step makes sense. Okay, so what can we do about imposter syndrome? There are some things that we can do to help overcome this imposter syndrome. So number 1, call it out. We had some family therapy, and we were taught to give those negative thoughts or those fears, give them an actual human name so that you can talk back to them. So I named my imposter syndrome thoughts Jessica. And I don't know why. If your name is Jessica, take no offense. I don't even know a Jessica that I don't like, so I don't know why this name came to me. But call it out, give it a name so you can talk back to it. So it may be like, Susan, like, you're not qualified to do this video. You're not a doctor. You don't have any credentials to be offering this advice. And I might say, you know what, Jessica? I don't have any credentials. I don't have all the answers, but I have personal experience and I know what I have learned through my experiences. Or Jessica might say, who do you think you are? And you might say, Jessica, I'm Susan Larimer. I might not have all the answers, but I'm doing things my way because I remember the only shoes I have to fill are my own shoes. Okay, something else we can do is take courage over comfort. Remember I said earlier, these thoughts and these lies don't come to you if you are living a very comfortable, safe life. You don't really have these thoughts and lies, but it's when you're about to do something out of the norm, maybe a little risky, maybe make you feel a little vulnerable, that's when these thoughts come in. So have courage over comfort. Another one is celebrate the progress. So you do press the record button. Celebrate that. That is huge. You do send the email. Celebrate that because that is a huge win too. Celebrate your success. Talk about it. Imposter syndrome is something that people don't like to talk about because they're afraid they're going to be found out. They're afraid that they're alone in these thoughts. Silence is the worst thing. I think it feeds those thoughts even more. So when you talk about it to other people, first of all, you're going to find out that other people have experienced it or are currently experiencing it. And you're going to find out you're not alone. You're going to talk to a friend and they're going to say, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. And for some reason, that is I find comfort knowing that other people are struggling with the same thing that I am. It makes you feel not alone. It makes it feel so much smaller and so much easier to deal with. Okay, also, you want to remember your why. Why are you doing the thing that you're doing, and what happens if you don't do it? If you do something and you fail, nobody is going to die. Nobody's going to die if you don't hit the record button. But there's a certain group of people that will miss out on hearing your message if you don't press the record button, okay? So remember your why. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for yourself? Probably not. Are you doing it for other people? Probably. So what happens if you don't do it? They're going to miss out on something amazing. Okay, so a couple quotes from a couple books that I came across. Susan Jeffers has a book and it's called Feel the Fear, Do It Anyway. I love that. You're never going to feel completely comfortable and confident and do it with complete confidence. It's very rare. I don't think I've ever felt that way, but you just have to do it anyway. So feel the fear, do it anyway. Sean Cannell, like I said, with the 7C framework, he says courage comes first. Rob the Maritimer, one of my favorite YouTubers, he said, your tribe is out there. If you don't put your content out there, they'll never find you and they're looking for you. And then Ruth Soukup, who I recently came across, and I'm reading her book. Her book is called Do It Scared. And she is amazing too. Really helps you identify your fear, why you feel that fear, and what you can do to overcome it. So I will put those in the description. But I just want to encourage you, if you have been encouraged, if you are like, oh my gosh, this message was for me today, if you can relate at all, or if you know someone else who needs to hear this message, please send it to them. I would love for you to like this video if you found any value, and hit that subscribe button. I am brand new to this YouTube channel, but I have a list of topics that I feel I need to share. So buckle up, and thank you so much for being here with me.